Yeah, my name is Anthony Francoso. I am an instructor at 3 different universities right now. Normally it's primarily Cal State Los Angeles, but I'm at Cal State LA, Cal State Dominguez Hills, and Pitzer College, which is in Claremont. So I teach, getting my PhD, and then I also do music with a band named Jeronimo, or Geronimo, and that's a summary, I guess. Yeah.
So, what projects have you been involved in? I read a little bit about your thesis, your master's thesis. You want to tell us about that?
The master's thesis, yeah. Okay, so the master's thesis was on the micro radio movement, and the micro radio movement is radio broadcasting that is done without FCC approval, so there's no license. And it's called micro because the radio transmissions are within 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 miles, so it's geared specifically towards a particular community. So I was part of Radio Clandestina, which was on 104.7 on the FM dial, and we were based out of East LA. We had our antenna on this hill in East LA. We would go, we would record our shows, and then we would go and take the shows up and play them to the East LA community. So the content dealt specifically with what was happening around East LA, political issues, social issues, economic issues, and all of the content kind of dealt with developing the consciousness of folks that lived within East LA, as well as promoting a number of different ideologies, Chicanismo, anarchism, Marxism. So yeah, it was a radio station that covered a lot of ground.
Nice.
So yeah, but it was definitely focused on change, radical community change in East LA.
So you play music, right?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about your band.
All right, so I play in a band named Jeronimo, and it's 3 of us. We were in a band called Sleestack prior to this, and then I went away for a number of years to go to Santa Barbara for my PhD. I came back, and Moises and Billy, WT, were doing Jeronimo, and then they asked me to join when I got back, and I went in there with my bass, and it was just like if we were back 7 or 8 years ago with Sleestack. It was a lot of fun, and I decided to join full time, and it's been an honor to be playing with those guys again because I love them to death.
So, I read a little bit about your teaching on Rate My Professor.
Oh yeah.
And your students had a lot of really good things to
Rate
say.
My Professor,
yeah. They said you had an interesting teaching style, and they said it was unique. And they said that you started out your class, every class, with a song.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about that.
Every class starts with music.
Okay.
And it's music that's related to what the class content is going to be for that particular day. And it's kind of radical, critical, revolutionary styles of music that I play. So I play like 2 or 3 songs from a particular band. We're playing with one of the bands, Dosland Underground, tonight, that I like to play in there a lot. Because Columbus Day just happened, so I normally do this whole, this time I did it myself, but this whole kind of Columbus Day thing, developing kind of consciousness about who Columbus was, what he did, and the ramifications of Columbus 500 years later. So normally I have Yout from Dosland Underground come in and do this, but with budget cuts and stuff, I haven't had too much money to be able to pay, so I've done it myself. But that's an example of kind of using music as a form, because in Dosland Underground music, it's about like Chicanismo and reclaiming indigenous histories and ideologies and identities. I was also talking about 500 years of colonization and oppression, so I like to play. I like to use Dosland as part of that. Like when Columbus Day comes around, or Thanksgiving comes around, or any type of date that people celebrate that focus on kind of ignoring or erasing histories.
So, what role do you think that music plays in the political spectrum?
Well, I firmly believe that music can play a huge role in relation to politics. Because a number of us are talking about politics anyways on a general basis, and it's like I talk to you, or I could talk to anybody else on a singular kind of one-on-one level, but when you, I think, use politics within music, you have much more of a voice. You have the ability to create records and get political messages or whatever kind of messages out through your music, through the media. So I believe that music can play a huge role in relation to developing consciousness and creating radical social change.
Very cool.
So yeah. I mean, and it goes way back to the troubadours and the folks that would just kind of Woody Guthrie, and before that Joe Hill, just kind of go around with their acoustic guitar and talk about what's happening in different communities and talking about like poverty and trying to just, it was like a modern day form of the news, I guess you could say, because they would go from town to town and hear stories from people, and then they would go to these other towns and tell the stories from connecting kind of communities together. So that's kind of how I view the music potential.
Do you think that a lot of the ties between art and politics today are more commercialized? Do you think that everybody's just trying to make a buck off of it, or do you think there are a lot more people who are really trying to get people out there?
That's a good question. I think. So the connection between art and politics and how it's being commercialized. I mean, I think it depends on who you look at.
Like looking at like a presidential election and seeing the amount of, the swag that gets sold and things like that, and getting messages out. Are people really trying to get the message out, or are they trying to make it, a fast buck?
That's a good question. I think it's both.
Okay.
I think they are trying to get a message out as well as make a fast buck, but I think the message they're trying to get out is so minute and small, and like you can grab onto it really quick. Yes, we can, right? Or was that Obama's thing? Yes, we can. Right, so I mean, he was trying to get this message out as well as develop money so he can continue his campaign, but it was so quick and so catchy, but it really didn't say anything. Right? It's like, yes, we can. Yes, we can what? Right? Yes, we can do this. Yes, we can do that. But what are we trying to really do? I mean, of course, I support Obama and I voted for him and all of that. But yeah, I mean, what does that message really mean? It's so broad and encapsulating that it really means nothing.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we can. Okay. I mean, but it's good to keep it in the back of your mind when you want to motivate yourself. Maybe, can I do this? Yes, I can. Or our little group is coming up with trying to develop a protest or a rally. Can we do this? Yes, we can. I mean, it's catchy, and it does motivate you and it can get you excited, but I think you have to be aware of what it is the message is really trying to say, because it's not very meaningful when it's just 3 words.
Yeah.
But it worked. It was catchy. And it got people on it.
So do you think that the arts and music, do you think they promote real social change?
I want to believe so. I really want. I really, in my heart and my soul, I do think that arts and politics